And you have the ability client-side to alter those during the test function. So this happens to be the test CGI that you post the data to. So what follows next is an eye chart. So this is the data that actually gets posted to that URL up there. The area in red, if it's altered, will typically reconfigure the printer, which is not what you want to do. The area in black is what's used by the test function and does not alter the printer's configuration. The blue areas are the things that I like to alter to carry out this particular attack. And we also have a video demo of this I want to show you real quick. So it's really simple in this. You go up the right-hand corner on the right code page and you click Log On. This password's really easy to remember. It's blank. Enter the username admin, and now you log on to the device. Once you're logged onto the Ryco printer, it gives you a lot more features, and you can go to the configuration page. Under the configuration page, you have the default settings, and the one we're interested here is the LDAP settings. As you can see, there's only one LDAP server configured on this, so what you want to do is you want to actually check that box and go ahead and open it up so you can see the configurations. And here we see all the different configurations that are available on this particular device that we want to screw with. So to carry out this attack, we want to set up a netcat listening port 1389. So we fire that up. We also want to set up a proxy server to grab the content coming from your web browser. Here I'm using Burp, but you could easily use Paros proxy also. And then we go back to the configurations. We go down to the start for the test function, and we click Start. Go back to the Paros or Burp proxy, and you can see that eye chart that I showed you earlier. It captured all that data. And I gradually go through here and highlight different parts of that of interest, and I'm not sure if you can even actually see any of that out there. And the area you don't want to screw with because you will reconfigure their printer. You don't want to have to go back and change it. So what we want to do as the attacker, it's fairly simple. We want to change the IP address so it's no longer pointing to the LDAP server. And we want to change the port so it's pointing to us on 1389 so our netcat listener can grab it. And of course, if we want to alter the auth type if needed. So we sent that, and if you notice, we have a connection coming from that printer to our netcat. So our netcat has actually got a connection with the printer. Speed this up a little bit because it took about 45 seconds to run through. But you'll see here real quickly, after about 45 seconds, the printer nicely passes us the username and the password in plain text. So if you have access to the Sharp or the Ryco printers and they are configured and you want to gather information off of it, and these devices don't have a whole lot of leakage problems other than this one here, you can carry out this passback attack by capturing the data that you send to the test function, telling the printer to, instead of communicating the test function to its actual LDAP server, I want you to communicate back to me, the attacker, and I want you to authenticate to me in plain text, giving me the username and password. Gives you the ability to strip the password off the printer. Okay, the next thing we want to move into is the tool. So we started developing this tool a while back, and it's called Pwnd. Pwnd is Latin for plunder, spoils of war, booty, thief. And that's what its purpose is. Its purpose is to go to typically the web interfaces on your multifunction printers using weak passwords, vulnerabilities, and what other methods that we can put together to strip this data that can be used to attack other key systems within your environment. The present version, we actually do have one module that a guy has been working with me on that doesn't use the web interface. It actually uses RSH. It turns out that the RSH on the Ryko printer was an easier method for getting the logs off than going through the web interface. It was easier to parse. It gave it to us in a cleaner fashion. So we go ahead and just pull it that way and then parse the logs that way versus the web interface. So we do have one module that goes outside the web part. The present version is actually written in Perl, version 1.2 beta. We have 17 modules so far, extracting data from 40 plus different printer models: Canon's, HP, Lexmark, Ryko, Sharp, Toshiba, and Xerox printers. Simple how the tool works. It's made up of 4 pieces. You have the Pwnd.pl, which is a dispatcher. You have individual modules designed to go against certain model types. You feed it a target file list, or target list of all the IPs or printers that you want to run this attack against. And you have a data file which does fingerprinting. The data file, this is the structure of the data file. There's 4 plus fields in the data file. The first field is nothing more than a sequence number. The second and third field is the method we use for fingerprinting. And the way that works is it pulls, the second field looks at the title page of the multifunction printer. The third field looks at the server type. And that works probably about 85% of the time on fingerprinting in specific models or model series. And then fields 4, 5, 6, and continuing out there, the actual modules that are actually used to launch the attacks with. So generally the tool syntax is Pwnd.pl, the target file, the TCP port you want to go to, whether it's 80, 443, 8080, 8000, and then also the project name, what you want to call the project. So that creates a folder, project name creates a folder, and the output file is a log file that's generated. So all the data this thing gathers writes it into the project folder, and also the output log file writes what's taking place, and in some of the modules where it extracts specific passwords out, it'll write it into the output log. So this queries the printers in the target list. If a match is found, the data, the device is attacked, the information is pulled, and it's stored in this method here. So where do we see Pwnd going moving forward in the future? The goal here is, as we had mentioned with the Xerox, the password encryption part of that. So we have an ongoing project there to evaluate that and see if we can figure that out. Also, a number of other printers have actually started the backup clone files that it generates are all encrypted, but the fact is that you enter the password to do the encryption. So it's just a matter of figuring out what encryption they have. You have the password, you could easily decrypt it. So probably analyzing that and trying to find various methods to do that. Once we find those for the different models, we'll build modules to pull the encrypted file and decrypt it and save it for you. We also have talked about actually working on migrating this code over to Ruby. Right now I'm kind of holding off on that, and we're going to stick with working in Perl. And the main thing is I want to see this project go to critical mass. Right now we have 17 modules, 40 plus different printer device models we go to. But the thing is I want the tool to be a valid, usable tool for pen testers. So we're looking for people to jump in, add value to this. Let's work on actually growing this, and once it reaches critical mass where it becomes a real valid tool used by enough people, then we'll go ahead and reanalyze it. Is Perl the best option? Is Ruby a better option? Could it be incorporated into other tools? Or could it be written in Python? So right now we're going to stick with the Perl and move forward from there. Also, we've been looking at developing other modules besides just printers, multifunction printer devices. There's all kinds of embedded devices sitting on our network, everything from UPSs, SAN systems, cameras. Every one of these devices, we as pen testers have actually found usable data that can be extracted from these devices. So the goal is to expand this project also to actually include all of those type of devices also. And I plan on releasing probably about a half dozen or more modules that go against network appliances next month when I present this in Bangalore, India. And I think that pretty much covers it. Looks like I went a little fast today. And we got a minute here. Let's. I got a couple T-shirts to give away. People like T-shirts, right? Well, you have to. So we have the FUFASnet T-shirts, and the thing is you have to answer a question. So real quick. It's fairly easy. What's the default password? You have to raise your hand because obviously everyone's going to. What's the default password for most WorkCentra printers? Gentleman back there in the blue shirt, right here. Yeah. Okay. So I have an extra large here. You can take one of these, and I think the other one's a 2X. There's a 2X. Also, one more. Okay, what's the default password for a Toshiba eStudio printer? No. That's it. Looks like you got stuck with a 2X. I'm sorry. So if anyone has any questions, we'll be over in the question and answer room 2. And please come on over and we'll discuss this further, and I hope to hear some input from everybody. Catch you later.